Hi and welcome to Cheeky Richo's Salmon and Potato Bake. This is absolutely delicious, perfect for Easter. Only using a few ingredients and some lovely fresh salmon. Now we're going to leave the skin on it. You're more than welcome to take that off, or you can actually remove the skin and crisp it up in the fry pan and serve it with it. It makes it absolutely delicious. We've got some cream, some mascarpone cream, onion, some potatoes, veggie salt and cracked pepper. So let's get started. We're just going to peel these potatoes because if we don't, they're going to have little strings of the skin in there, which will be less than ideal. We've also peeled our onion. We're actually going to grate that. We don't want to have big rings of onion like you normally would have in a potato bake because they're really quite stringy and hard to eat. But if you grate this and you mix it in with your cream when it goes in, it'll make it nice and sweet and silky and impart the flavour all the way through without putting those big long rings of onion. We just peel the potatoes and get on with our dish. Okay, using a mandolin on the thinnest setting, we're just going to slice our freshly peeled potatoes, and you can see they're really quite thin, straight into our dish that we'll be cooking it in and also serving it in. So this is going to save a little bit of washing up. Really quick to do this. If you don't have a mandolin, use a knife, but be very careful because you need to have them like really wafer thin, really thin. And this is really done in just a matter of moments. Okay, our potatoes are all done now. We're just going to sprinkle them with some pepper, some veggie salt, or you could use any vegetable flavoured salt or special seasoning that you happen to like. And we're just going to get our onion and grate our onion straight into a bowl. Put that to one side. And you can see it's really quite fine. Okay, we've preheated our oven to 180 degrees Celsius. We've got our grated onion here. It's really quite fine. We're going to add our cream to that. Mix it all around and then pour it over our potatoes. We're going to cover this with foil, pour it all over, and give it a good massage through. You want every single piece of potato covered in this onion and cream, and doing that will disperse the flavourings and the seasonings through as well. And we're going to bake this for about 45 minutes until the potatoes are tender. We want them thoroughly cooked before we add our salmon, because otherwise the salmon only takes a few minutes to cook and the potatoes will be still raw and disgusting. So make sure you've got this well and truly mixed up. The fat content in the cream will assist in cooking the potatoes, and we just want them in a layer. I'm using about a 20 centimetre or about an 8-inch square casserole dish here. You could use any size casserole dish that you like depending on how many portions that you're serving. Okay, that's what you have to do. Now just pop it onto a tray and cover it. Before we pop it onto a tray, in case it tries to get out, you want it collected on the tray and not in the bottom of your oven. Okay, into the oven we go. 180 degrees, about 45 minutes. And now while our potatoes are cooking, we just take our fish and we cut them into chunks, about so big, serving size. And then we're going to drain them well on paper towel and just allow them to come to room temperature. There is a phenomenal amount of goodness in the skin, and that is the reason that I'm leaving it intact. These really thin pieces can be sort of overlapped so that they actually are thicker in the cooked dish. They cook evenly. And now we just lay those pieces out on some paper towel and make sure that it's well drained. Just put that to one side. Okay, after 45 minutes, this is what you should have. It's smelling quite cooked. We're just going to poke a knife into it and make sure it's nice and tender. If it's not, give it a little more time. That's quite nice. Okay, you can probably see this is really quite bubbly. We're just going to lay our pieces of fish around on the top in no particular pattern unless you want to make a pattern. I like to put the thicker pieces towards the outside edge and the thinner pieces toward the center for obvious reasons. And now just get a pastry brush and dip it into the sauce and just paint it over the top, and this will stop it from drying out, much the same as if you would baste it with butter. And let's face it, butter is just cream with the whey removed from it. It's looking pretty good. Now we get our mascarpone cheese, which will just brown. It won't actually melt and go all gooey in amongst this, and we just put dollops around for this really decadent richness. Just dollops, and they'll sort of go golden, sort of crusty on the little peaks and hollows on the cheese. The fish will be silky smooth. It's already started cooking from below because of the heat. Now we pop it back into a 200-degree oven for about 5 or so minutes, checking to see that it's reached your preferred level of doneness. Now you can sprinkle some panko breadcrumbs if you want, but I find it doesn't really need it. We're serving it with some baked zucchini, some pumpkin and some corn. So back into the oven, about 5 or so minutes until it's cooked. Okay, after 5 minutes our fish is beautifully cooked, really, really moist and tender, still a tiny bit pink in the center, but it hasn't browned as much as I would like. So rather than leave it in there and destroy the fish, I'm just going to use a little kitchen burner and just give that a little tickle up, just to give it a little bit of a brown color. If you want to, you can pop it under the grill for a few seconds, and this is purely optional. I just don't want to put a Pyrex dish underneath the grill. I think it might crack the glass. And you only want to color the cheese. You don't want to cook the fish any further. There you have it. Cheekyricho's salmon and potato bake. We're serving it with some roasted zucchini, which has been sprinkled with Parmesan cheese, some roasted pumpkin, and some steamed corn. Just cut into this. Smelling pretty good, let me tell you. Make sure everybody get a little bit of the cheese, a little bit of the potato, sprinkle of some spring onions just for garnish. Nice and delicate, they're just the little tips. And there you have it, Cheekyricho's salmon and potato bake. Have a little taste, shall we? That onion is sweet, very, very delicate. It's gone right through the potato. The fish is fork tender. That's glorious. Thanks for watching.